So this would be lesson 15, and we're just going to skip to the exercises because a lot of the problems are the same or really, really similar. So when we're looking at slope, we're looking at the steepness of the line. And so on this line, we have P and we have R. And we want to figure out the rate of change for the line. So we need to look at the point. So we have R is at 0.14, P is at 0, 0. And our formula for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this is just saying we're trying to figure out the vertical change with the y coordinates and the horizontal change with the x coordinates. So we can label these. This is our first x coordinate and our first y coordinate, our second x coordinate and our second y coordinate. So then we can just plug it into the equation. So if we have m equals y2 was 0 minus y1, which is over here, so it's 4, over x2 was 0 minus x1, which was 1. So if we simplify this, 0 minus 4 is negative 4. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And if we reduce this down, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 4 divided by 1 is 4. We find that m is equal to 4. It has a positive slope. When this line goes from left to right, it goes up. And we can count up from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 1, which would be the same thing as 4 over 1, which we already know is equal to 4. So it's finding the coordinates, labeling them, and then plugging them into the equation that we have. So as far as doing the same thing, on the next point, so identifying, we have P located at 2, 1, and R is located at 3, 4. Our formula was m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I want you to pause the video, label the points that we have up here, and plug them into the equation. So if we look at this, I have labeled all points up here, and I've plugged them into the equation. And now I just need to simplify. 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Divide that out. M is equal to 3. So we start at P, 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. We do end up at our point R. If we look at this exercise, the line looks a little bit different because as we look from left to right, from P to R, it's going down from left to right, but we're still going to do the same thing. Our slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I want you to identify the points and label them. So pause the video now to identify P and R coordinates and label them for your x and your y's before you solve or substitute them into the equation. So if you look right here, we have negative 2, 3, that is our point for P, and negative 1 is our point for R, and we're going to substitute them in. If we look and see y2 and y1, so that would be m equals negative 1 minus 3, and x2 is negative 1 minus negative 2. Be careful because we're still subtracting. We're trying to find the difference between the coordinates, and x1 is negative, so we have to make sure it stays negative. And it may be easier to rewrite this as an addition sentence. So if we have negative 1 minus 3, that's negative 1 plus negative 3 over negative 1. Subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. So we could say negative 1 plus 2. Negative 1 plus negative 3 would be negative 4. And negative 1 plus 2 would be 1. So our slope for this line would be negative 4, and if we look at this and go 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 1, that would match our fraction here, so our slope of this line is negative 4.